365 days of horsemanship, day 184. My goodness, the thunderstorm has just started. I'm super happy to be back in my car, having finished my session with really good timing. I had quite a nice session today. I feel like the heaviness and the clouds are sort of lifting that I've been dealing with the last few days. And yeah, I definitely felt more energetic today and more able to feel good about just incremental steps. I think, it's that incremental steps thing that I'm missing. I think I find it difficult when I get tired, when I get lethargic, when I get when my patience battery runs low. I find that unless something is incredibly entertaining for me and incredibly exciting, like there's going to be a giant, change in something, I find it quite like I want something for the day that's going to energize me, and just putting in that work every day, that one brick, that 10% doesn't feel like enough. And then of course, if I don't have that motivation, I'm never going to have, some exciting, incredible thing anyway, because, I barely just want to do anything, So it was nice today to feel that release a little bit, back into a more positive frame of mind. I went to Mia first, and she was actually, the whole herd was kind of like easygoing, resting down by the gate, and I was able to hold to her pretty quickly, pretty nicely. I mean, to be honest, from a sort of technique Pirelli perspective, I didn't really have the lateral bend, I didn't really necessarily have her mind, but what I didn't have was a no. And so I kind of was happy with that. I was happy to be able to just walk over and hold to her. I felt like I didn't really have, if I'm thinking about my sandwich of kind of passive freedom based, then dominance, then more passivity, I did one of her plats, but otherwise I didn't really engage in anything passive with her at the start of the session. So really, I was just happy to be able to put the halter on. And started walking, and she really wanted to walk to the gate to the next field, which I was sure was about the grass. But I thought, you know what, actually, it does feel a bit boring that we've been in here for a few days now, and I can do all the same things in the field next door. Let's go in there. Yeah, sure, why not? Went in there and walked the fence line in there, which was good. And it was interesting. It really made me realise that actually, I'm the one that needs variety, and new challenges. And I think that probably she does and the other horses do as well. And actually a new environment is a really great way to make that happen. You get so stagnant if you're just in the arena or in this place or that place or whatever every day. So that was really nice. Basically walked the fence line looking for mountain lions, did a couple of circles each direction of hill therapy, worked a little bit on just some kind of some light bending, I'm just asking for that little push kind of at the flank area, just to ask the back legs to cross over a little bit and the head just to tilt a little bit. And actually when I first see that nose come across, that's usually where I'll release, because I'm just asking them to think about the bend. So I did that both directions. She actually was really interested in going to the other side of the field, and so I managed to do a really nice run of sideways as well. I played with the backup again, which was nice. And just generally trying to have good rests in between. In the other field, it's more difficult because there's more grass in there, and so when we rest, it's not that long before she's then wanting to eat. But it also does give me quite a good sensor of when she's processed enough, because if she's going back to eating, she's not really thinking about what we've just done. She's relaxed and back into comfort again. So that gives me quite a good sort of litmus test for when it's time to stop resting and start doing something. Had some really nice trot transitions today. Had one really interesting one where I'd asked her for the trot initially, and then we have to walk on the circle again for a bit, because even asking for it one time will really jazz her up. She'll get a lot of tension from that. She'll feel quite tense about what's coming next. And I was just walking, and I literally just thought about trotting again, and she started trotting again. And in the past, I think I'd have told her off, because from my or not, well, I suppose told her off is the honest way to say it. I'd have, you know, shaken the rope and got her back to a walk or whatever. But actually I thought, you know what, no, I have thought it, and she has done it. And maybe she's seen something in me in that moment that said to her trot, and she's trotted, and that's great. And it was actually a really nice transition. She had a nice few strides of trot. I don't push her to maintain the trot at this point. I'm just looking for her to just come up into the trot nicely and have a nice transition. And then she trots, and my energy is quite low. And so then we'll trot back into a walk. I think the next step maybe is to go like trot, and then for me to decide when we're coming back to the walk is probably something that's important for me to put in quite soon. Otherwise she's kind of making that decision. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice in there, to be honest. It really was. Yeah, I had some really nice, and I just feel like actually it's a lot of progress there, really, because it does seem to be getting better each time. Like the trot transitions today were really soft, really nice. I didn't have all of this like aggravation, like there's a lot of energy, but like I don't want her to be dead, you know, like she's a fiery Spanish mare, and I want it to be expressive, and I want it to be playful. I also just want her to feel safe, you know. So, and I think the safety is going to come from me not overdoing it. You know, I think ultimately at this point, it's really my responsibility not to put her in those places where she feels like she's concerned. And if I don't put her in those places, then she's a really incredible horse to play with in that way. And she's really like cool. Yeah. And actually I need to learn to love her energy, learn to feel safe around it in myself. And I think that's also to do with me not frustrating her, so that it doesn't feel like a fight from her perspective. She doesn't feel like she needs to defend herself against me, and then I think I will feel safer as well, because I'll never have those moments where I feel like that energy turns towards me. Yeah, so it was good. I took her back to the field, managed to have a nice little run up the hill with her, which again was really nice, where I started running and she started running and all the herd was running. And I kind of was like, ooh, just like a little bit, just literally looked over at her, and she slowed down, and it was really nice. And it does feel like we're learning to talk to each other better, learning to get along better, I guess. And I think not feel so threatened by each other, not feel so defensive, not feel so, I think like that we have something to prove to each other. I don't feel that way with her now, like that I have to like force her to do what I want because otherwise she's being naughty, and I don't think feels so much like that she can't have an opinion, which I think is good. So yeah, so it was a good session. It was a really good session. Yeah, I took the halter off at the top and stayed with her for a little bit. I started to hear a couple of thunders from across the hills, so I didn't stay for too long. But yeah, she looked at me and I thought, yeah, that's nice, I'll take that. And so I left. But it felt really nicely. The unhaltering was really nice. She didn't leave me straight away. We just did some grazing. The whole thing just felt good. Definitely. I have to say, I will never, ever again take a horse back to a herd and not go with that horse to the herd and then spend those couple of minutes with the horse before I leave. Like, it just is such a good round off to the session, like makes such a difference. I really enjoy it. Yeah, so then I went to see Lawrence, which was also actually a good session. I knew the thunderstorm was coming. I know he's been itchy the last couple of days. And so I really wanted to give him an opportunity to get the rug off before the thunderstorm comes and just give him a good itch, which I did. And he'd been grazing, and then I took the rug off, and immediately that I did that, he's like, "Ooh, I'm interested now. Now I want to know what you've got to say. Now I want to know what you can offer me." And we had quite a nice little scratch, and I think something clicked in me that, like, actually it's okay for me to be moving and scratching all the time as long as my feet are moving. And that helped me to feel like I wasn't in the wrong place as much, which was really good. Oh my goodness, this is quite a storm. Wowee. Yeah, so that was really good. I felt really good about it. Yeah, I feel sorry for him, actually. My goodness. It's a big old storm. It was definitely really good, I think, to to have that time with him today for the first time, so we scratched quite a lot. I went all around him. That felt quite nice and soft, and then he rested, and that was really, really nice. Oh my goodness, it's like a proper storm. Yeah, it was really, really nice to be able to stand with him at rest and touch all the different places that I could. I think I'm gonna have to go now because it's like really stormy. But basically I was able to be with him at rest, which was really cool, and essentially go around all the different places and get a focus change, which is huge. Like, that's super huge, super new. So yeah, really good second round. I'm gonna go now.